Hello and welcome inside the Update Studio, everyone, for our special invitational recap show. I'm Tommy Marquez, joined at the desk by Pat Sherwood, and because of the timing of the whole invitational down in Australia, we're going to recap the whole event for you guys. We're going to jump right into it, starting with event number one. Event one was a chipper of rope climbs, rowing, assault bike, and cleans with the worm, and early on it was the USA that jumped into the lead behind some blazing fast legless rope climbs from Panchik, Olsen, and Pierce. They would be the first team to the assault bike and rower, but that's where their lead disappeared. The Canadians jumped to the front during the final row bike combo and would be the first team to transition to the final 30 worm cleans. Not to be outdone, the Pacific team, perhaps pacing themselves for the final movement, pulled ahead with faster, more efficient movement on the worm implement, and they would take the event and 6 points to kick off the competition on their home turf. And Pat, Pacific, obviously starting with a win, was a huge development for them, but what really stood out to you in event number one?
I think just the improper pacing from the USA team. This was one of the front runners we had going in, and the USA was the first, done with everything that awarded you no points whatsoever. Fortunately, you have to get across the finish line to earn some points. It all fell apart there. Pacific started off strong, and I was so impressed right from the get-go with Pacific. This is a team that had to deal with a little bit of turmoil. Newberry was going to be their coach. Last second he realizes, hey, guess what? You're going to be an athlete. Hope you've been training. And how would that be? Would it be seamless? And they looked like that had been the plan the entire time. Cool, calm, and collected.
It definitely showed in that event number one. Unfortunately for the U.S., they would settle for last place in that event, and they would be in last place starting event number two, and perhaps that would be their motivating factor for them. Event number two was a handstand walk course, and from the get-go, Team USA looked like it was on a mission. Noah Olsen kicked it off for the men. He would be the only athlete to do the entire course for the men unbroken. He would give US a lead, and from there, each athlete on the USA team would go on to win their respective heats. Carrie Pierce would win her heat. Scott Panchik would win his heat, and even Tennille Reed would win her heat, taking methodical breaks at each checkpoint along the way. USA would walk away with the win in the event. And Pat, this is a pretty cool event that we saw announced to the team. The first time we're seeing a handstand walk course. These athletes are proficient on their hands. Is there anything that stood out to you from this event in particular?
Well, first of all, I loved the twist because, yeah, we've seen the handstand walk so many different ways, but never with the little obstacle course. Absolutely loved it. Director of the games, Dave Castro, said that we will see more, so athletes should be training that. When Noah Olsen took off, first of all, USA had to make up some ground. When Noah Olsen took off, and I saw Pat Vellner, who was a former gymnast, kick down, and Olsen didn't, I was like, that risk is not going to pay off. Olsen's going to crash and burn. You know, the kid's just getting a little outside the box. But man, he held on, set the tone. I think the next three athletes for USA kind of fed off that. They crushed it. They were clawing their way back. That's positive. Then on the negative side of that event, I was shocked how much Pacelli and Sarah Sigmundsdottir struggled. And Sarah Sigmundsdottir was very vocal in the cool down show and vocal on her own social media pages that she doesn't know what she got, but showing up to Australia, got some sort of a bug, was feeling terrible, nauseous, dizzy. Half the time I think when athletes say that, it's BS. It's not true. It's a convenient excuse for a performance that didn't go well, but I 100% believe Sarah. She was not herself, and that's a huge impact on Europe.
I'm with you there. Things clearly not right for the reigning invitational champions in Europe. Standings after two events, going into event number three. Pacific, another strong performance, sits in first place overall with 10 points. Canada and US tied in for second in points. US getting a much-needed 6-point boost from that event win in event number two. And Europe in last place in fourth with just 2 points going into event number three. And event three was a couplet, a 6-round couplet of synchronized bar muscle-ups, as well as some synchronized hang power snatches. And from the get-go, it was pretty much a two-horse race in this event. Canada and Pacific transitioning together side by side from each round to the next, and it seemed like it was going to come down to the final round and the final hang snatches. But during the transition from the bar muscle-up, you can see Brent Fikowski signaling to his crew that they would have to break it up into 3 sets on the final snatches, and that would be just enough for the Pacific team, who used superior communication and pacing once again to walk away with their second event win out of 3 events. Canada would get beat to the finish line by the US, who came charging at the end, who would take second place in that event. Another strong performance from the US, and Canada would settle for third in that event. Another event win, Pat, from the Pacific team. This is the same roster as last year, but clearly, performance-wise, this is not the same team that we saw.
We say this frequently with regards to the invitation. Just because you have a group of incredible individual athletes, that doesn't mean they're going to gel in a very short period of time and be this cohesive, beautiful, synchronized unit out there on the floor. But the Pacific team looked like they trained together year-round. It was ridiculous. And in that loud environment with so many moving parts, watch all the other teams. There has to be a team leader out there shouting commands, making sure everyone's exactly where they need to be for the synchronization to count. Pacific was somehow pulling that off with complicated movements with no verbal communication whatsoever. I've never seen anything like it. And then at the end, when Rory McKernan interviewed Cara Webb, she said, yeah, there's more to communication than just words, and they've got some sort of Jedi mind tricks going on, but they were in the zone.
It was certainly working. After 3 events, Pacific holding on to first place with 16 points overall. Another strong finish from the U.S. moves them into second with 10 points. Canada 2 points back in third, and Europe still struggling in fourth with just 2 points going into the 4th event for the evening. And the 4th event was a little twist on an implement we've seen in the past with the heavy tire. It would be 2 minutes of max flips. The men would go first, and then the women. And for the men, Patrick Vellner and Brent Fikowski showcasing that podium level fitness for the guys. They would pull ahead very early on and kind of cruise to a victory there. All they had to do was get the baton to the Canadian women. Despite Caroline Reason-Thibault struggling in the past with this type of implement, Alessandra Pacelli basically stole the show in this event. Not just doing once or twice, but 3 flips in a row at times when her teammates needed it.
Each athlete out on that floor is a beast. They are incredible. They're the best that we have, which is why they're at the Invitational. So when you see one of them look like they're struggling picking up their tire, that's because that tire is so miserable. Then you watch Alessandra Pacelli flipping that thing like it's full of helium, or I don't know what was going on. Like we said, we've watched a lot of CrossFit. It takes a lot these days to stop me in my tracks, but I saw that happen. The cup of coffee went down. I just stared at the screen, rewound it to make sure I saw it again. She absolutely crushed those tire flips, and that's why leading up to the Invitational, we said the addition of Alessandra Pacelli for Canada cannot be understated. It's a big deal.
It was certainly a big deal in terms of points. The win for Canada moves them into a little bit tighter points race with first place Pacific. After 4 events going into the finale, Pacific was still in first with 18 points. Canada leapfrogs USA into second with 14. Another last place finish for the United States team leaves them in third place at 10 points, a far cry away, but an actual decent performance from Europe gives them a little bit of boost points-wise, but still in 4th heading into the finale. And the finale was a little bit of an announcement from Dave Castro. We're bringing back out the worm, a classic CrossFit rep scheme, 21-15-9 of worm thrusters and synchronized burpees over the worm. Early on, it looked like Canada might give the Pacific team a push. They would be the first team to complete the 21 thrusters and move on to the synchronized burpees. But in the round of 21 burpees, the Pacific team, once again, showcasing superior pacing and superior communication, would pull ahead of the Canada team. And for the rest of the workout, it was basically a victory lap. The Pacific team would hold on to their lead throughout the rest of the workout. They would win the event, secure themselves a win for the 2017 CrossFit Invitational. Canada was settled for second. And once again, the USA team would finish a distant 4th in this event. Pat, we saw this with this workout in particular. That worm, getting some no reps at any point in this workout can prove costly, and there's no real nice way to get a no rep on the worm.
No, and that's why we see the worm so frequently in the team competitions. It just has this unique ability to be a massive monkey wrench. It forces communication, it forces teamwork, and if you have any holes in that game, it will expose them to the entire crowd. The worm fails are dramatic, they're frustrating, everybody can see them, and then you get a little snippy with whoever was out of sync and caused the worm to fall down. So it really is a unique implement that serves very, very well out there on the floor.
Your final standings for the 2017 Invitational. The Pacific team gets the monkey off their back and doesn't just break into the top 2, but they win the event. First place with 26 points overall. Another strong performance from Canada in the event. They can walk away with their heads held high. Second place in 19 points. USA, disappointing performance for them, I'm sure, in 3rd place with 10 points. And Europe, despite A couple of issues with some of their members being sick. 4th place with 8 points after winning the whole entire event last year. Looking at these final results, Pat, what really stands out to you in terms of performance?
I just have to celebrate Pacific. 1st place on their home turf. I mean, I can't even imagine the pride their team has, the whole country has. I mean, just well done. And the Pacific has never finished within the top 3 at any of the invitationals. Now they take the whole thing on their home turf. Canada, what a comeback after last year. You know, we gave them some grief as to how their performance in 2016 was. They should be very proud. Hold your head high with that 2nd place finish. USA disappointed, understandably so. Move forward, focus on 2018. And Europe, the winners from last year, no one expected them to take 4th, but you've only got 4 members on the team. So if somebody as capable as Sarah Sigmundsdottir is not performing at 100%, you're down 25% of your team. That's a huge deal. So I kind of discard what happened to them, and it's a new Europe next year as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, clearly it was too much to overcome for her having a sick athlete on your team. One cool part about the Invitational, seeing the celebration at the end, was the Aussies put their own spin on celebrating the win. We saw them pull out not a cup, but a shoe for them to enjoy a little bit of champagne. We heard Jeremy Austin calling it a shoey. Leave it to the Aussies to bring in a new type of celebration to this particular format. But beyond the competition, that wasn't the only exciting thing happening. During the cool-down show after, Director of the Games Dave Castro made some very important announcements concerning the 2018 season and specifically the regional format, and we've broken them down here for you guys in one graphic. In 2018, for the regionals, Affiliate Cup teams will drop from 6 athletes to just 4 athletes competing. The West and California regionals will combine into one big Western regional. Europe will split into 2 regionals. They'll have a North that will get 5 spots and a South that will get 4 spots to the games. That includes Africa. Latin America will now get its own regional, being able to send 1 athlete guaranteed to the games. Pat, some big changes on the horizon for 2018. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's still a lot for me to wrap my head around, but Europe, they deserve more spots for the games, no doubt about it. There's so many tremendous athletes out there. They needed a bigger representation of the games. They're going to get it. That regional that's going to combine all of California and the Old West, oh man, there's a ton of talent competing for those spots. And then I'm just very happy for Latin America. I mean, you know that 1 man and 1 woman is going to represent that entire region of the world and go to the games. And I've spent a lot of time down there. Everyone is fired up in pro CrossFit, so I just can't imagine representing all those fired up CrossFitters, man. They're going to bring it at the games.
Oh man, they are going to bring the heat, no doubt. And I love upping the ante competition-wise with just 4 athletes competing on the team. But that's going to do it for us today. We hope you guys enjoyed the Invitational. Up next, we have the CrossFit Liftoff powered by Rogue. For Pat Sherwood, I'm Tommy Marquez. We'll see you guys next time.